Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon, and I'm going to do a follow-up on the Starfleet Academy debacle. So a couple of days ago, it came out that Starfleet Academy had dropped off the streaming charts for Paramount Plus after episode 3. Like it's off of there completely, and we're doing some damage control, I think. And it's so weird because Reddit, of all places, called it. Reddit said that after this news comes out, and this comes from Collider, by the way, Collider, which is a more left-leaning outlet. After the news came out that the show is not doing very well, that after 3 weeks it's already dropped off the charts, they said there's going to be all kinds of damage control. This is coming from Reddit. Somebody said later today someone will post an article about how great the ratings are, and Captain Average says they will find Star Trek episodes with lower ratings to compare it to for a while, no matter if those comparisons make sense or not. I get that there are some people out there who genuinely find things to like about the show, and that's fine, but some people seem to be obsessed with proving the haters wrong. Well, here it comes. Here it comes already. TrekMovie.com initial data shows Starfleet Academy performing well ahead of other Paramount Plus Star Trek series. Yes, the first episode or two, and then people watched it and they were like, yeah, it's not good. I mean, come on, Gary from Nerdrotic posted a Spock toy in a chair, and it got more interaction and more views than Starfleet Academy did on YouTube. But now we have Robert Picardo doing damage control too, because one of the other complaints about the show is, why do these kids in the 32nd century talk like modern Gen Z kids? It's basically Degrassi in space, right? And he has an explanation for that. So I haven't read this yet, so I'm gonna go take a look at this article, and you guys are gonna come along for the ride. Grab some popcorn. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, go out to more.clownfishtv.com. That's more.clownfishtv.com for more Clownfish TV. So yeah, just to walk it back, if you missed the other video, according to Collider, according to data, Star Trek Starfleet Academy fell out of the streaming charts. Paramount's streaming charts, not all of streaming, but just Paramount's streaming, fell off the charts after 3 weeks. And there's a lot of cope, a lot of seething, a lot of people. I knew something was up because I had a bunch of people pop up in my comments on the last video, all of a sudden be like, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. Well, I don't know if we are wrong. I think this is just, we're going to try to massage those numbers to look at. They're like, well, there's a second season already. I'm like, they did the second season was greenlit before the first season. They just went ahead and preemptively greenlit 2 seasons. Doesn't mean the show's doing well. Doesn't mean the Ellisons won't, pull the funding. Actually, they said they wrapped up filming. They'll probably just release what they got and then call it a day. But this is coming from TrekMovie.com. Here's the damage control. Initial data shows Starfleet Academy performing well ahead of other Paramount Plus Star Trek series. Oh boy, they said the new series Star Trek Starfleet Academy launched less than 2 weeks ago to generally positive reviews from critics, and has popped in and out of the top 10 shows list on Paramount Plus and Amazon. While fully assessing the performance of the show at this point is preliminary, okay, data, there are some indications of how the show's doing at Paramount. It says being other Trek but not Taylor Sheridan shows. According to Ted on TV Substack, he's currently providing the only free, independent, and objective analysis of streaming programming. In a post last week about recent series and season debuts, he said Starfleet Academy has collected 2.1 million viewers for the first 8 days of the first 2 episodes. That's 2 episodes combined, 2.1 million viewers. That's not great. That's like what, are we talking combined? Are we talking like that? That's your total audience? That's not that good. For Star Trek, that's not that good. While small compared to Taylor Sheridan shows, it's above the full season averages for the recent notable Star Trek series Strange New Worlds and Picard Season 3. So it is the king of the crap. And like The Acolyte, a lot of people checked it out the first episode or 2 just to see how bad it was. And then they noped out. It fell off the charts after the 3rd episode. So I think people did give it a chance, and they're like, yeah, this is dog shit, and they're not going to watch any more of it. Academy's still well ahead. Well, Picard Season 3. So here's the thing. Picard Season 3 was really damn good. I liked it. As a longtime fan of Next Gen, I thought that was the proper send-off the crew deserved. That being said, it was ruined by the first 2 seasons of Picard, which were awful, right? So they did the best they could do to try to piece it back together to get the gang back together. But at that point, the damage was already done. People had already noped out. A lot of people were like, hey, Picard's still on? Huh. How about that? Strange New World, same kind of a thing. I think people were like, yeah, this is kind of a spin-off of Discovery and it's not the same timeline. And I gave it a chance. I watched the first couple episodes, and then as soon as I got to the musical number, I'm like, you know what? I'm out. I'm not even giving this one more time. I actually dipped in a couple of weeks ago in the episode with the holodeck, and I was pissed off about it because I was like, they're making fun of the original Star Trek. They're making fun of Gene Roddenberry. I mean, come on. What are you doing? Then puppets. They have puppets in Strange New Worlds. Like, what the hell? It's canceled. So that's not saying much. To say that it did better than these, Strange New World season 3 and Picard season 3 isn't saying much for the first 2 episodes of a brand new show that people are willing to give a chance. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of like, well, actually, guys, it's doing really good. Yeah, Tulsa King's doing really good. But here we are, Strange New Worlds season 3, and and people know the show's already canceled, right? I mean, come on, it did better than NCIS, Tony and Ziva, I guess, and that one's been canceled too. So, Trek Movie Editor said, after looking at the data published in my Substack, Academy is off to a decent start compared to other recent live-action Trek seasons. It has neither stumbled out of the gate nor shown the ability to bring in audiences outside the current. Okay, this is key. You got to read between the lines. It has neither stumbled out of the gate. Well, the first couple episodes are going to do good because it's a brand new show, nor shown the ability to bring in audiences outside of the current Paramount Plus Trek fan base at launch. It's also been much smaller than Taylor Sheridan programs are in other Trek shows. They've whittled the audience, just like Star Wars. They've whittled the audience down to next to nothing. And this is the best you can get at this point, I think, with Kurtzman era Star Trek. This is the best case scenario, and even this one's dying because it just, I mean, they've even got Holly Hunter. I like Holly Hunter, right? I don't know if I want her to be, whatever the hell kind of captain she's playing, but like, she's all right. She's all right. So they're really trying to play defense here. As noted in my last article, it's too early to make definitive determinations, but now we have a sense at least. We'll be looking forward to more early numbers and keeping an eye out to see if the new show pops in the Nielsen top 10. I don't think it's going to, when that data arrives in a few weeks, but maybe the first episode. What we don't know is what kind of numbers Paramount is looking for with the new show, along with how it continues to perform. We do know streaming services are particularly interested in seeing viewers stick with the series through completion of a season. And with that, and with the goal of the Starfleet Academy to bring in new, younger audiences, Paramount Plus will be taking a close look at their own demographic data. Well, they're not sticking with it. They're dropping out after the 3rd episode, right? And they're looking for the Gen Z kids. So let's talk about that. The elephant in the room. Why the hell is a show that takes place in the 32nd century so Gen Z? It's really weird. I thought it was very weird. I watched the trailer and I'm like, what the hell is up with this? These kids are acting like kids today. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Gizmodo has it. Star Trek legend Robert Picardo, who spends all day ranting about politics online, on why the Starfleet Academy cadets talk like modern kids. Okay, I would like to know. I'd like to know. But here's the thing. They're throwing shade at the haters again. They said, there are definitely a few things you can critique about the latest Star Trek show, Starfleet Academy, but it's also hard to deny that the series has come under some incredibly picky scrutiny by some corners of social media, the chuds, often for things perceived as not being aligned with the kind of supposed decorum that is expected of Star Trek characters. Starfleet cadets are supposed to have more decorum. Basically, it's West Point in space, right? I mean, they can goof around in their own time, but they're supposed to be quasi-serious. At least that's the vibe I got from earlier series. One thing that's come up regularly just after 3 episodes is that these gosh darn youths talk a lot like they're from 2025 for kids from the 32nd century. Yes. Well, Star Trek has long dabbled with trying to establish a futuristic culture away from contemporary trends and tones. It's not always regularly adhered to. It tried to adopt a broadly neutral tone and style of talking for Starfleet officers over the years. You can tell what era the Star Trek was made in. I mean, let's be honest. The original series, they're wearing go-go boots. Women are wearing mini skirts and go-go boots. And Next Generation, it's hard to ignore the shoulder pads in the 80s episodes. I think it got better into the 90s, but everything had a very like 90s hotel look to it. Like the Enterprise looked like it was a Hilton from the 1990s, you know, but they tried. They tried. I'll give them that. This, I don't even think they're trying. And so one of the show stars, Voyager alum Robert Picardo, who returns as the holographic doctor for Starfleet Academy, has offered an interesting suggestion as to why that's the case. Okay, he said, my very first, this is his suggestion, this is not canon, right? My first thought was that I was president of the debating club in high school, which I wasn't a very good debater, but I cared a lot about. You should have been a master debater there, Robert. That was low-hanging fruit. I too was also part of the debate team and the academic decathlon, and I took Latin, and I was really like, I had my nerd cred, man. I was a huge dweeb. That's the first thing I thought. I was like, oh, look at this. It finally paid off. Okay. But I do believe that, especially in our new show, the cadets talk like kids in the present day world and in their own vernaculars, but it's important to note that it's almost like old Star Trek meets new Star Trek. We used to speak in a different way in the old series, that mid-galactic speech. So I think it's important that when you're marshaling an argument in a diplomatic situation, that you can speak in well thought out and well planned paragraphs, not just, well, you know, kind of, and that kind of thing. So I do think that the doctor was pretty demanding as a teacher. Of course, the doctor has a long history with debate. So where is this? Okay. So where is this that he's saying beyond series simply being in a modern time? These kids here, okay, they're learning to be officers. They aren't arriving at the academy fully formed in the mold, so they need someone to teach them how. And the doctors, what? Okay, so no, Robert, I'm going to debate you. It's a one-sided debate. That's not why they talk like this. They talk like this because the powers that be behind the show also talk like this, and they had a goal. The goal was to rope in Gen Z into Star Trek. And this is the same thing that happened with Doctor Who. And all that you do is you alienate the old fans and you make the show look very dated. Right. And again, Next Gen, I can go back to, actually, I would say the other Deep Space Nine and Voyager, you actually can look at, and they're not nearly as dated. I think as early Next Gen, those first two seasons, like, man, there's a lot of headbands and sequins and shoulder pads. You know, all the aliens are wearing like freaking 80s shoulder pads, and the hair, everybody's got the 80s frosted tips and everything. But I think they did try to be like, look, we need to be more neutral. I guess the way I always saw it was, in the future, the language has become more bland. They went out of their way to not use slang very often. I noticed that. But there have been a lot of excuses as to why, they always refer to current pop culture and all that, and that we kind of like move beyond pop culture. And I don't know. The Orville's kind of weird like that too. Yeah, they keep referencing like Dolly Parton, but it's kind of cool to have some alien women kicking ass to 9 to 5. But it's like, look, the show is designed for Gen Z. That's who it was designed for, and they're rejecting it. And it doesn't matter what kind of excuses you make for it. It's not resonating with them. It's not resonating with general audiences for sure, because even TrekMovie.com is saying only Paramount Plus Trek, not even all Trek fans, not even all Trekkers. Is it Trekkers or Trekkies? Whatever you choose to call yourself. I always thought Doctor Who fans should call themselves Hooters. But no. They're Whovians. I thought Hooters would be brilliant, but whatever. But yeah, so not even the hardcore Trekkers are watching it. It's just Paramount Star Trek, and they're dropping off too. I mean, it's a failure. I'm sorry. And yeah, it might get 2 seasons because it's already in the can, but it's not going to get any more than that. And the word on the street is that Kurtzman era Star Trek is done. They need to get rid of the Kelvin timeline. I don't know if this is Kelvin or post Next Gen or whatever the hell, but yeah, it doesn't make sense for kids in the 32nd century or whatever the hell they're into. The 32nd century to be talking like Gen Z kids from TikTok. Why? Because you want this to go viral on TikTok, and it's not. It's the same reason they ruined Doctor Who. They wanted it to go viral on TikTok, and TikTok doesn't give a shit. They don't care. So there we go. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this one up. Damage control, here it comes. Copium, here it comes. That needs to be a planet in Star Trek. Planet Copium. So, all right. I'm going to wrap it up. Please subscribe. We'll talk later.